Act 1, Scene 1, London the Palace. This is the opening lines of the play, and Henry IV begins, "So shaken as we are, so wan with care, find we a time for frighted peace to pant, and breathe short-winded accents of new broils to be commenced in strands afar remote. No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips with her own children's blood. Nor more shall trenching war channel her fields, nor bruise her florets with the armed hoofs of hostile pacers. Those opposed eyes, which, like the meteors of a troubled heaven, all of one nature, of one substance bred, did lately meet in the intestine shock and furious close of civil butchery, shall now, in mutual well-beseeming ranks, march all one way, and be no more opposed against acquaintance, kindred, and allies. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master." So, the play opens with Henry IV attempting to unify his country. That is his focus. But there are a few things going on that are a bit troublesome for him. Firstly, this scene has occurred not long after the Civil War, the War of the Roses, where Henry usurps King Richard II. So Henry's calling for unity and for everyone to work together when he has just recently taken over, killed the king and assumed his position. And something that he's attempting to do at this time is to launch a crusade to the Holy Land as a means of unifying the country, so they have a common goal and everyone is focused on their Christian beliefs. Now, another thing that's occurring at the time is that King Henry's peace of mind is disturbed by the contrast between Hotspur, who's just won a great victory over the Scottish. He is contrasted to Henry's son, Prince Hal, who's living a wild and riotous life of pleasure at the time, and that they're very much in his mind. And to complicate that further, Hotspur is refusing to hand over the noble Scottish prisoners to the king, which is quite an offence, but he's justified in doing that because Henry's not looking after Hotspur's relatives who are imprisoned themselves up north. So there's a lot of the background, the historical background is evident in this opening scene. And if we look at it, he begins with, "So shaken as we are, so one with care." So he's using we, the royal we there. He's talking about himself as the king. The monarchy is shaken, but he's talking about both the country is shaken as a result of what's occurred. "We find we a time for frighted peace to pants and breathe the short-winded accents of new broils to be commenced in strands afar remote." So here he's saying we're all tired. We have to have we have to have a moment where we catch our breath before we set off for the Crusades and start another war. And then he says, "No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips with her own children's blood." So he's saying no more shall England see the infighting and the murder of English at the hands of other English. There will be no more civil war. Now, the audience will see this as dramatic irony because Henry has just participated in that civil war and he has spilled the blood of Richard II and assumed his role, has usurped him and become king. "No more shall trenching war channel her fields, nor bruise her florets with armed hoofs of hostile pacers." So he's saying, that's it, no more war on our soil. "Those opposed eyes, which like the meteors of a troubled heaven, all of one nature, of one substance bred." So he's saying here that He's calling for unity. That he's saying, he's using the simile like the meteors of a troubled heaven, because meteors were considered to be cosmic signs of violent disturbances in society. So it's a bit of pathetic fallacy that meteors are travelling across the sky, and they're forewarning, or they're reflecting the troubles caused by humans, and at the same time they foreshadow more trouble to come. So the pathetic fallacy and foreshadowing is employed by Shakespeare quite cleverly at this point. So, like the meteors of a troubled heaven, all of one nature, of one substance bred, did lately meet in the intestine shock, and furious close of civil butchery, shall now in mutual well-beseeming ranks march all one way. So he's saying that we're all marching in the same direction. We are united. So there's a metaphor. I suppose it's like a military metaphor, that they're all focused in the one thing. And be no more opposed against acquaintance, kindreds and allies. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife. So we're on the outside, the edge of the war, the end of it. We're on the cusp of peace. And it's like a knife that hasn't been sheathed properly. No more shall that knife cut its master. He's saying that England is the master, and so that metaphor is saying that he's calling for a time of peace. So this speech sets up the king, and it presents him as having a reasonable desire for peace and for unity, but it does not take into consideration the role he's played in how he's come to become king.